Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first impressions of Forager. This is developed by, I believe, one guy on Steam and published by Humble Bundle. What do you do in it? Well, you mine and you craft. So that makes it Minecraft. Nope. No, not quite. So it's a mixture of Minecraft, Terraria, and I guess Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon or Factorio, whichever one you prefer. Just a little bit of a mix of all of them. And the idea is you murder a bunch of just innocent creatures. You harvest their organs and put them on your head or on your weapon. I have this bone axe and this slime helmet. You just kill them and you take their resources. It's pretty messed up, honestly. This game should get an M rating. But anyway, it's actually quite fun, if not a little bit repetitive. So whenever you mine anything on the map, you get experience points, and it goes to this big bar up at the top here. Once you level up, you can get skills, and this is part of the game's really fun progression. A lot of games, like Terraria or Stardew Valley, when you first start out, you feel very weak. It takes forever to do anything because you have really terrible tools. But here, what I like is that your tools actually satisfying to use, and when you get these upgrades, they sort of progress the overworld. So foraging is a perfect example of this. When you get this, cotton spawns more often, okay? Allows you to find wheat, allows you to find beets. These both spawn on the map as soon as you get foraging. So you're not just exploring more to get more interesting biomes like over here, but when you just straight up level, you get access to more things. Now, if you want to go to different areas to harvest, like, cactus as opposed to trees, well, it's a little bit different. You actually have to buy it. So in the game, you can acquire gold, and that gold is used to buy these square blocks of land. When you first start the game, you only get this little area right here, and I've built some things on it right here. It used to be pretty much blank, aside from a few resources. But then when you get more gold, they cost not too much at the start, but then they start to get a little bit more expensive. As you can see, some of these things are 3 grand, 1,000, And that's quite a bit, actually. It does take a while, but you can get skills and abilities and ways to get gold a lot faster than when you first start out, which is interesting. It's part of the automation mechanic. It has to do with these banks I have right over here. So I have 742 gold right now, and we're going to get some more. So these banks are at, 80 gold right over here-ish each. Now, I have actually purchased an item that allows me to get 75% extra gold on top of what I'm getting. So if I get this 80 gold, my gold total is not going to be 820. It's actually going to be higher. 866. And now we're at 1,000, which is pretty good. So now we can buy that plot of land. And a quest giver has spawned over here, which is pretty good. Quest givers are a neat way to mix up the game. Basically, you do little favors for them, like give them certain resources or items you mine, and they will reward you, sometimes handsomely, either with items that are worth a lot of gold or can give you special abilities. Cool little artifacts like this lantern over here. This thing lights the night up so that it's easier for me to see. This game does have a day-night cycle, which is pretty interesting. And it's also got a jam and beat. Let me just stop talking for a second so you can hear this. Sounds pretty good, right? Yeah. So in these different biomes, as you'd expect, you can get different things. It's like cactus, these, palm tree looking things. They do still drop wood, but you can actually get chili peppers in this area, which, because it's hot, get it? Also, there's sometimes new enemy types. These things I haven't been able to deal with yet. There's a giant chest over there, which you can unlock with a key, and I'm interested to see what's inside there, so maybe we might get to that. If you die in this game, you just kind of start at the main menu. You don't really lose anything, which is kind of weird. The combat's not really anything interesting either. You just kind of swing and you dodge. But apparently there's going to be an update to the combat system, and there's weapons that you can get later on. No flowers grow here, a flowerless princess. It's absolutely awful. I think you could help me here. Okay, she wants flowers. Okay, that's pretty easy. Alright, it is now the pitch of the night, and we are well into mining some flowers. I've also donned a fedora to present these flowers to Milady as soon as we're done. This is a good time to talk about the day-night cycle, as well as some of the crafting mechanics, as well as how the game teaches you, because I have a few complaints about that. So, some enemies and things only come out at night, which is fine, makes sense. It's a little bit annoying that you have this giant black border thing going on around here, but, you know, it's whatever. It's supposed to be a night cycle, it's supposed to mess with your vision, but there's not too much to it aside from, hey, sometimes things like this quest giver come out at night. Cool, whatever. She gave me an item earlier, but I guess she's not doing anything now. And the music changed. Cool. So, crafting. When you first start up the game, it says, hey, you should make a furnace, because it does this stuff. And as you progress, you can pretty much unlock all these little question mark things right over here. You're going to use things like gold and steel to make these banks. Some structures do end up taking more resources as you build them, so the more you build, the more resource intensive they're going to be. Like these banks, like the new ones are going to require even more resources to build, which makes sense. I mean, it would be kind of cheating if you just had a billion frickin' banks on one little island and then you just, you know, started buying up everything like the true capitalist you are. We're actually getting close to the borders over here, which is kind of neat. There is an end in this game. Apparently you can beat it in 12 hours. God knows what's at the end. I have no idea. Apparently there's dungeons and stuff like that. I'm at like hour 4 right now, and again, scratching the surface. Now, there is one big complaint I have about this game, and that is the tutorial. Okay, so I want to make this very clear. I rather have a game that lets you figure out everything on your own than a game that buries you in menus, because if there's one thing that puts me off a game when I first boot it up is the tutorial throwing so many menus and so many instructions. I start to get worried that I'm going to forget something, or I'm going to have to memorize something, and it's like, oh god, just drip feed me this, please. But then you have games that don't really tell you what to do at all, and sometimes that can be great. Like in this game, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. So, you know, you chop down trees, that gets you wood, right? Duh. You get these little experience points. Oh, you could level up. Duh. Here's the problem. When you go to craft something, you have absolutely no idea what it does half the time. Big backpack. That seems fairly straightforward. Okay, this probably expands your inventory space. Big wallet. If big backpack gives you more space for items, the wallet must give you more space for gold. There must be a cap. Incorrect. The wallet actually gives you that gold buff that I was telling you about earlier, where if you collect gold, you get a 75% interest on it. Basically, you get more gold than what it's advertising as. You know, the thing I did with the banks over here? That's what it does. I didn't know this. So what's happening is that, like, I thought, oh, the wallet must be a cap on gold, and I haven't hit that cap yet, so I don't need a wallet yet. So most of the game, I was just... And I'll explain that in a second. I've been doing that a little bit. Most of the game, I've been mining gold, I've been buying these areas, then I find out, hey, you can actually get this wallet that increases the amount of gold you get. And then what you could also do is you could build banks that generate gold for you, which is also not explained. If you go over to skills again, and if you go to the bank right here, unlocks banks. Does not tell you at all if this generates gold or whatever. How I found this out is that I researched artistry, which, you know, it shows these grayed out tiles. Like, as you progress further and further, you get, like, these little, like, you know, extra ones that you can look into later. It's kind of like Kirby Air Ride, where you, like, or Smash Brothers, where you unlock something and then it shows, like, oh, these are the other things you can unlock. Like, a little hints or whatever. But, you know, I got bargain, and then it showed treasury. Banks generate coin 50% faster. Oh, so that's how it works. You know, I was at here, and this wasn't even, like, showing. It wasn't available. This was grayed out, and this was, like, basically invisible. Like, there's probably something right here, but I have to unlock this thing first. Do you see what I mean by that? It's like very indirect with its instructions. So that's a little frustrating. If you're wondering what some of these buildings are for, the one at the top right here, this is for changing your cosmetics, so that's where I got the fedora. It's pretty cool. And then this one's actually kind of neat. Basically, you can kind of put like resources into these little areas right here. These are like all the professions you get, so you can get an idea of what's in the game, right? So you take all your stuff, you put them in here, and apparently if you fill these up, you actually get rewarded fairly handsomely, which is cool. It also serves as kind of like an almanac or a gallery, which is nice. I guess that's some little inkling of a resource to go back to. But it is very frustrating because it's like, I don't know what I'm crafting. And this thing could have helped me out instead of doing all of this extra work. And now I'm like, well, I could have done all of this a lot faster had I just known that. And, you know, it is fine that you can figure that out, but sometimes it's not through... you have to do it through trial and error. Like, when I did this quest over here, I got this cool druid scroll, and it's like, oh, these are worth 300 each, and I got 3 of them. Like, oh, that's cool. That's like 1,000 gold. So I used one of them, thinking like, oh, I wonder what it does, and it spawns a bunch of trees. And obviously I don't need trees, because look at this. Look at this. There's trees everywhere. So that's a little frustrating. There's also a survivalist mechanic. You might have seen me like go to the inventory and eat some food. Oh, Jesus. It also doesn't pause the game, which is a little annoying. But you might have seen me do that, and basically it fills up this green bar as you do tasks like shoveling to plant seeds, to grow crops. It goes down a little bit. And once it starts to go down all the way, you lose health, and then if you die, well, you just go back to the screen, and then you can load it again. You don't really lose anything, as far as I can tell. Farming is also a little weird. You can activate an obelisk on the map to give you buffs, and this is kind of cool because it gives you, like, this temporary buff to increase, like, your farming... Oh, Jesus. Increases your, like, your farming. Like, gain bonus XP from gathering herbs and crops. Like, oh, that's cool. But there's, like, no point in harvesting, I guess, except for XP, because whenever I try to, you know, do some crop harvesting, like I'll show you how that works right now before we hand in those flowers. All right, Ninja Audio Edit here because I really screwed this part up. Okay, you take 3 chilies, you put them into a windmill, and the windmill gives you a set amount of seeds, but usually the windmill only gives you 3 seeds for your 3 chilies or your 3 oranges or whatever. So you take your 3 seeds, you put them in the ground, duh, no shit, and then you water them. Now the problem is that when you do this, there's only 1 orange or chili per seed. So if you get 3 seeds from your 3 chilies, you basically get nothing. So sometimes you can get like 4 seeds or 5, but it's been super rare for me. I guess you can probably get... upgrades in your skill tree to increase this or do more, but I haven't seen that yet, so it's a little bit tricky. So I guess you could add farming to your routine, so you go harvest some plants, you go check your banks, you go check your traps, and then on your way you check your farming little thing you've got going on for extra experience points, but it adds more busy work because you're essentially putting up more mills, and you're waiting on them to produce these seeds. I guess you could add them to your like little compendium in that little house you had, but it's just kind of pointless overall. It doesn't give you enough rewards, at least right now for me. And it's, you know, I've been playing 4 hours. You'd think a game about harvesting would give you more rewards or more information about this, but again, it doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you. Let's go over to the princess, tip our fedora. Oh, we need more flowers. All right, if I was 30, my bad. Sometimes you have these weird things on the map, and you just have no idea what they're doing there. Like this, or there's like a weird puzzle going over here where you hit these little obelisk or statue things, and you just... Something's supposed to happen, but I'm never able to do it in order. And it looks like they're spelling out letters like H or W, Y, T, I or L. I have no idea what it spells, if it's supposed to spell anything. So like you hit them right here. And then I guess it activates something, but no idea how it does anything. You know, it was kind of a waste because I spent a lot of resources to get this, and now I have no idea what I'm doing. And you might notice, yeah, there's a lot of resources that spawn, and sometimes they can block you from getting to the area you need. And other times, yeah, see, like, I activated that and nothing's really happened, so there's got to be some kind of puzzle to this. But sometimes, like, I'll be on, like, one of these little islands and I've mined everything that I could, and nothing's just spawning. What you gotta do is you actually have to go to these other islands where resources are plentiful, and you just gotta start knocking stuff down for more things to appear. Again, the game doesn't really tell you that. You can learn it by yourself. That's one thing I will give it. But there's a lot of trial and error. It's very annoying when I waste RPG upgrades because, you know, they take a while to get. And, like, sometimes it's like, well, I could have spent that money to get another biome because now I only have this little biome over here, and it's the only place where I can get these special nightshade seeds, which I think only grow in the dark, and I need that to get this new wallet, which is going to get me more gold, but I need more areas. Everything just kind of circles back to itself, and the gameplay loop is very fun, but it's just a little bit frustrating sometimes because it doesn't really tell you what to do or where to go. It's kind of its charm, but it's also its biggest weakness. The gameplay is fairly repetitive, but as a guy who doesn't even like Harvest Moon or the slower points of Terraria or even like Stardew Valley, I just don't generally like the games, but this one I just really enjoy. The graphics are very charming. The music is great, the environments are fun, you know, you murder everything. It's got a good sense of humor, too. It actually acknowledges that. Like, at one point, there was, like, this beet monster growing out of the ground, and, like, I would go up to it, and it's like, oh, you're like, my best friend. We love you. And then, like, you start hitting them to, like, harvest the beets, right? Because you're like, okay, I gotta do this. And then they're like, no, please, God, stop. Please stop. Like, they're screaming, like, I still love you, please stop, it hurts. It's like, and you even get an achievement, like, I think it calls you monster or something. It's pretty messed up. And it's also, like, really, really funny. Yeah, so, restore our little survival thing right here. It's a little bit annoying, but, I mean, hopefully it can be adapted a little bit better. Okay, we got 42 flowers. Let's see what the princess is going to give us. We're gonna tip our fedora, and then we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna wrap it up. Frickin' rocks. These areas right here actually give you better minerals than over here, but they take longer to break through. They also give you more XP, so there is a bit more of a progression sense than mining the same minerals for the same XP over and over again. Okay. Find more of them. What? What did I get? Animals? What? Okay, hold on. Okay. Perfect example. This is 320 gold, a lot more than that. What does this even do? Now, she says she likes animals, so I'm going to assume it just spawns a bunch of animals, so I'm not going to use this, but you just gotta pay attention. I want to help you. I can make a rare form of clothing that will make animals love you forever. Oh, so maybe the animals won't actually then attack us. Okay, and we would have to get this. So these quest givers, eventually they stop giving you quests, or there's a point where they kind of peak out. There's one guy over here, the first one I unlocked, he is basically saying like, hey, this is my last request to you, get me a dinosaur egg. And it's like, I don't know where to get those, so you're going to get like a lot of things where it's like, obviously you're going to need to wait and get this later, which is fine, you know, I can discover that easily, but it's like, come on. What does this do? This, I know what that does. How about, how about this? What does a bank do? You know, it stores money, right? No, it generates it for you, which is kind of makes sense. Vaults. Stores items, fine. Market, yeah. It's not too bad. But it could do with a little bit more of a hint. At least let me know what I'm doing. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And it's very fun. Pick it up on Steam. It's $19.99. There is a roadmap that the developer is teasing. And, I mean, it seems solid. You know, base game, coming soon. More farming elements. Combat update. That's what I'm looking forward to. So, should you buy it right now, then? Well, if you liked what you see, even if you're not into Harvest Moon, give it a shot. It's quite a bit of fun. If you are, well, you're going to love this game. It's like crack. And the first 3 hours I played, I was really into it. I'm getting a little bit burned out now, but it's still fun. Combat does need work, though. It's not it shouldn't be advertised as like a Terraria-like game because it's just not even in the same league. Even Terraria 1.0 had more content on its bones than meat on its bones than this did in terms of combat, upgrading, fighting, armor. But yeah, check it out, Forager, 1999. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out.